everybody. Welcome back to the Gitty Gang Show. I can say welcome back to most of the people in this room, too, because if you watched last week's impromptu from the backyard Gitty Gang presentation, we had a little bit of a rough run of it here at CB Gitty, but I'm happy to announce that we are all back in the saddle here, back in the juke shack. Got Nick over there behind the producer's desk, somewhere up in this area. Danny Woodman over here. By God, we're glad to be here, and we're glad you're out there with us. Thankfully, thank you everyone who inquired about how we were doing. Thankfully, all of the symptoms were very mild. You hardly even knew you had anything, it seemed like.
If for people around me getting it, I would have thought it was a cold.
Yeah. So
not that that's everybody's experience.
Oh no,
but,
no. I know our good buddy Kale emailed me and Nick earlier today, yesterday. You know, he had a pretty hard run of it back in January. Spent some time in the hospital and such. So it certainly is it's a hell of a disease, I'll say that. But we're thankful.
Can you taste your coffee now?
Yeah, that's what made me test. Last Sunday morning, I'd been feeling a little iffy, and I made coffee. I'm like, this coffee don't smell like nothing. That don't seem right. So I tested, and like, uh-oh.
I got lucky in that department. I never lost my sense of taste or smell.
It only stayed away for a little while, and then it came back. So anyway, Michael Capato's out there. Louis Lamanna, just send him another batch of potentiometers, because he turns them into those knob-turning tools. We need a new batch of those, so those went off down there to Louis. Rob Roble out there, good to see you, buddy. Tom Schaefer from Columbus, Ohio, a lovely little town where I spent many a happy hour back in the day, and which might be getting Amtrak train service back soon, I hear. John Matrician out there, asking how the gang's holding up. I think John recently had his own run-in with the COVID, so boy, it's good to be back, I'll say that. Speaking of people out and about, got a postcard from our buddy Jimbo Burt earlier this week. Came all the way from Honolulu. Jim was messaging me on Facebook. He and his wife took a little cruise, ended up in Hawaii. He said they were having some ukulele lessons on the ship. And once he got to Hawaii, he intended to buy himself a conventional, a real, we'll say, ukulele from the source there. Because, of course, ukuleles are said to have originated in Hawaii. So, we're glad you're all out there. We got some great videos for you.
I do have a picture Jimbo sent in if you wanted to.
Show the picture, by God.
Show the picture, Nick.
Oh, here they are. Hold on to your onions.
All right, let me take my mug off the screen here.
He's mashing buttons. Hey, look at him there between us. Standing in front of maybe a koa tree. I don't know what koa trees look like, but that could be one.
It's a pretty tree.
Well, Jimbo, I think they're supposed to be back in the homeland soon, if not already. So we're glad they got out. I see Dana Valley out there, inventor of the Relapse bee bender. Good to see you, buddy. We got some videos this week. I got the script on my phone. That's why I'm looking at it. We got Steve Stebos, X-Ray Style Joe Strummer. Tim Henderson sent in one called Mystery Train. That sounds good. We've got a whopping jam-packed 12 minutes of What's the Dealin' with Spielin' out there. He's going to be talking about all sorts of stuff.
14 minutes according to live stream.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Hope it transcoded correctly.
Yeah, me too.
No trouble here, folks. But if you've been following along, Shane has been posting a lot of stuff. He's been building a cigar box mandolin. I'm going to be talking about a particular cigar box mandolin here in a little bit. I can get it out from under this cord. The Louis Lamanna cigar box mandolin received a little TLC this week. A couple of other videos. Got one from Kale doing One Piece at a Time on a 4-string. One of my favorite Johnny Cash songs of all time. In other news, what's going on? Danny and I are going busking after today's show. Us and two of the girls from the Off She Goes band are heading down to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I'm going to do some picking and grinning on the street, and we have a goal. The goal is to make $50 in tips, because that'll be the last $50 that our Ashley needs to buy her set of Ilian pipes the Irish bagpipes, which are extremely difficult to learn to play and extremely expensive, but she's got her mind set on it, and we're going down to help her cross the finish line in terms of funding. So we'll see how that goes. I've long had a hang-up of sorts about busking. I've never tried it on my own. Never really tried it much, even with other people. It's always just, there's something about, hey, there's Jim Burt. There's always been something about just putting yourself out there. If it's a session where music is happening, I have no problem. If it's a scheduled gig, of course, I have no problem. I think it comes down to whether or not you're supposed to be there.
Right.
At a session or gig, you're supposed to be there. It's all part of the plan. But to just go out there into the public, onto the streets, and start playing and singing at people, I ain't gonna lie, it scares the hell out of me. And I've never had the confidence to do it. But thankfully, and Danny, you kind of feel the same way, right?
I wouldn't want to do it alone.
Yeah.
No, it just,
Whew.
yeah.
But thankfully, two of the girls in the band, Ashley and Emily, have a lot of enthusiasm and no fear. And they've been out there multiple times, so.
I'll tell you, it's easier after a couple of beers.
Well, that's the thing. We're going to be sober going in, too. This is coffee in this cup, people. Whew. I always say with Irish music, can't play this stuff fully sober, but we'll see how I do today.
I know how I feel when we sang in the beer tent with everyone looking at you. It's like, do I want to do this?
Yeah. So we're going to do a little train spotting on the way down, see if we can see any railroad activity. So anyway, all sorts of good stuff. I've got a couple of things to talk about this week on the theme of mandolins. We're shaping up into like a mandolin month or something, but I'll give you a brief overview now, and then we'll go to the first video. Steve-Os, I believe.
Yes, X-ray style.
So I worked on Louis' cigar box mandolin this week. This is the one that was supposed to be part of our Irish show, and when the camera went live for our Irish show and I was holding this store-bought mandolin, I immediately saw the frowny face from our Louis, but there was a reason. And the reason was that the low, mandolins have double strings. There's 4 courses of 2 strings each, and they're tuned in unison. And for some reason, one of the G strings, the one that's on the top when you hold it in playing position, just developed this horrible buzz, this jangly, it wasn't even sitar-like. It was just like this rattly, jangly buzz. Well, you can hear now, it doesn't have a buzz. So I'll talk about all of the steps I went through to try to get rid of that buzz on this mandolin. I did some other mandolin work this week on this little store-bought. This was back before I knew about cigar box guitars or anything, but I consider this the first real mandolin I bought. The actual first mandolin I ever bought, it was a Johnson I bought off eBay for about 89 bucks, new. And when you pay 89 bucks for a new mandolin on eBay, what you're actually getting is an object shaped like a mandolin. It played, and I learned my first Irish tunes on it. But it wasn't a very good one. Then I got this one. It's an Eastman. It cost me about 900 bucks, I think. And there's a story in that because when I went to the music store that day, my wife said, "Don't buy a mandolin." And I was a bad boy. I didn't listen very good. And I bought this mandolin, so there was a little bit of ruckus from that. But I played the hell out of it, and the frets, because I really only used the first 7 frets, they got some real divots in them. Because, those 2 strings, you're pushing them down in the same place all the time, it just wore little valleys into the frets, and it made it so I really have to push them down harder. It was harder to get clean notes. So I did a partial fret job this week. All sorts of mandolin goodness. What the hell did you do this week?
Well, I rebuilt my Lionel train layout.
Yeah? Well, that was last week during quarantine, right?
Yeah.
You've been working on Gitty Laley fretboards out there, haven't you?
Yes.
We had a
Oh yeah, we had a big order of them.
Bulk order for 50 Gitty kits that is just about ready to go out, and most of that fretting and filing and carrying
All
on.
ready to go out.
All ready to go. Boy, they don't waste no time out there. So good stuff. That's going to some sort of school, I believe, and we love sending stuff off to schools. Get the kids building and playing instruments. 'Tis a wonderful thing. Jimbo says we sound like we're in a well. Anybody else hear that? Does it sound weird for anybody else? Nobody else is complaining.
There's some echo on YouTube, apparently. Shane said there was an echo.
I guess I've got the reverb turned up a little bit, but that shouldn't do it. Anyway, well, sorry about weird sound. John says yeah. Rob says no. Bit of echo.
You say yes, I say
None of the other
no.
mics are on, are they?
You say stop.
No, not that I know of.
Huh. Well,
Say
we're going to
go,
press
go, go.
blindly onward as we usually do. So let's run that first video that Steve sent in there, and then we'll be back to talk a little bit more about some mandolins.
I've seen a million, but the city's mine. Took the tape kings and the juveniles. Can anybody tell me which way to go?
Hey, thanks, guys.
There's a happy guy in green out in the woods there, doing good work. All right, so mandolin. I'm going to start by talking about what I did to fix the buzz on this mandolin that Louis Lamana built. And I'm going to start by talking about all the things that didn't fix the buzz on this mandolin. And there were quite a few of them. Sometimes I've found when building cigar box guitars, there can be something inside the box, like the wire from the pickup can be positioned just so where the vibration causes it to create a buzz. So I opened up the back, which I've since covered up with a sticker, to root around in there. No problem in there. Nothing that I did with the wire affected. Sound too low now here. Sounds good. I don't know, Jim. Turn up your speakers or something. I can crank us a little bit more here, but we got the echo gone, Shane says, so I think we're stuck with what we got. Anyway, rooted around in there, moved the wires, nothing changed it. So that didn't work. Opened it up for nothing. I noticed while it was open that the way Louis built this, it didn't look like there was any gap between where the neck brace goes through and the lid. So I thought maybe it's just close enough to where the lid is vibrating against the neck brace. So I drilled a hole and I popped a screw through right by the bridge to try to pull them tight together. That didn't do it. That didn't affect it at all. It's like, all right, maybe it's the tail piece here. This is one of our gold mandolin tail pieces that we sell. So slid the cover off, looked at how the strings were attached, tried different things. That didn't do nothing. I thought maybe the giddy bucker's rattling around in there. I took the cover off. Nope, that didn't do nothing. Like maybe it's the bridge. So I messed around with the bridge. I sanded it to a finer point on top, re-notched it. Nothing. No help. I replaced the bridge with a different bridge. No help. What the hell else did I do? I tightened all the screws. Nothing. Messed with the tuners. Nothing. Finally, I changed the strings. Tried heavier gauge strings, lighter gauge strings. No help. Finally, the last thing I did is I looked up here at the top of the fretboard. I'm like, well, by God, that's a 0 fret. Louis has a 0 fret on here, and then this bone guide nut above it. I was like, what if that string is being held up just far enough above the 0 fret to where it's rattling when it gets strummed? And I grabbed a nut file and I deepened that slot, and by God, the buzz went away. So now, back to having playable mandolin. And just as a note, this is a long scale mandolin. Louis built this, I believe, to 16-inch scale, nut to bridge, so it's a little bit more of a stretch than a conventional mandolin, which is generally around a 14-inch scale. But let's just give them a quick little snippet of one of our favorite Irish tunes, Morrison's Jig. See how fast. Oh, I did a couple of other things. I found when I was playing that I was hitting the edge of the headstock over here on this side, especially when trying to hit a D chord. So I sanded that off. I rounded the back a little more because I'm kind of persnickety about how that all feels. And anyway,
You'll
ready?
have to tell us that story again sometime.
Really? The first time wasn't bad enough? See, Jim found the problem. You got to plug her in there, boy. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. And the funny thing was, I don't actually hit that low G string very often when playing tunes on the mandolin. Certainly hit it when strumming. But the reason that night, that particular night, when we did the Irish show, I was also doing a multi-track recording of us to see if I could get some good tracks for a live album. And I didn't want to risk having that buzz in the recording mix. So, but it's working now. So that was Mandolin project number 1. I think we're going to go to this video that Tim Henderson sent in, something about a mystery train.
Yes, indeed.
Ooh, boy. And then I'm going to come back and talk about the partial refret job. And I've got a trick to show you. Some of you may already know it, but I'm guessing a lot of people don't. And this trick is specific to stringing mandolins, stringing most banjos. I think you're going to like this one. So here's Tim Henderson, and we'll be right back.
Train will ride 16 coaches long. Train will ride 16 coaches long. Well, that long black train got my baby and gone. Train, coming round the bend. Train, coming round the bend. Well, it took my baby, but it never will again. No, not again. Well, I come down to the station to meet my baby at the gate. Asked that station master if that train is running late. He said it's still a-waiting on the 444. I hate to tell you, son, that train don't stop here no more. Train, rolling down the line. Train, rolling down the line. Well, it took my baby, left me poor and behind. I heard that whistle blowing in the middle of the night. When I got down to the station, that train was pulling out a side mystery train. Smoking down the track. Mystery train. Smoking down that track. Well, I don't want no ride, just bring my baby back. Say, I don't want no ride, just bring my baby back.
Four. That was a hybrid polka. So I see Ashley is out there, Ashley, the Wicked Whistler, soon to perhaps also be the Peppy Piper.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't settled on the new nickname, but something like that once she gets her pipes. All right, so let's talk about whatever was next.
3-hour tour. There you go.
3-hour tour. The store-bought mandolin, my old Eastman. I had mentioned that the frets were really getting worn. When you play Irish music on the mandolin, there are certain frets that you hit a lot. 3rd fret on the high E strings to hit a G note. 5th fret on that A string to get the D note, B, G. So those frets, they were really getting divots worn into them, making it harder to play. You really would have to push them down. The action was kind of high. So I started off really just intending to adjust the truss rod to bring the action lower. And then I got the strings off, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I had been worried for a long time about trying to do a refret job on a real instrument, and especially a mandolin. Mandolins are cantankerous little instruments. Shane Spiel can tell you just how cantankerous mandolins can be. Trying to build them, trying to repair them, just trying to keep the darn things in tune can be a Herculean effort. But I had the strings on, like, all right, you know. What are you laughing about?
Sorry, I just imagine tuning the mandolin
Hercules.
one of Hercules' 7 trials.
Yeah, and he gave up. Some bitch gave up and threw it right in the volcano. So I grabbed my pair of fret nippers, the close ground nippers, and I started pulling out frets. I won't say on a whim, but it certainly wasn't with a lot of forethought and planning. And I realized these frets up here, 8 through whatever it goes to, I don't even know, I never use those frets. I don't think anybody has ever used those frets on this mandolin. They're not worn. So I decided to just replace the ones I use, frets 1 through 7. It's cheating, and it's especially cheating because the fret wire that I used for the replacement, for the refrets, is our 10001 or 10012, the narrow lowest nickel silver fret wire. It's not an exact match of what was on here. So it's a little higher, actually, and not quite as wide. So frets 1 through 7 are narrow and a little higher, and then 8 on up are a little wider and lower. But who cares? I don't use those anyway. So I started pulling them out. I should have reread my own fretting guide before launching into this. Turns out I had a little bit of chipping of the ebony fretboard, not too bad. And once I noticed it happening, I followed the steps that you do to try to prevent it. Got them all out. I was like, all right, that wasn't so bad. So I got a length of the narrow lowest fret wire and started cutting. And one trick with refretting an instrument like this, you probably can't see, but it's got binding, that plastic binding on either side of the fretboard, and the frets actually extend out over that a little bit. So you've got to actually notch the tang at the end of the frets in a little bit, so just the part goes in the slot that's supposed to. So I get that first one in there, and it's like, boy, I can't get it to seat all the way in right. The ends were up. So it took me a few tries to get the fret wire radiused correctly, just a little bit more than the radius of the fretboard. So then I got them in, leveling and doing all this stuff. Well, the short story is I got it done, and it plays pretty nice. A lot better than it did. I did also adjust the truss rod, put new strings on it, but of course mandolins take loop end strings, and I didn't have any loop end strings handy. So what did he do? We'll get to that in a moment. Plays a lot better. This is the mandolin I use on stage at a lot of the Irish gigs that we're doing. And I'll show you one more trick. Wasn't planning to show this, but gotta come out of the booth. If you look here, you know, mandolins have these floating bridges, and I actually put a rod piezo in between the two sections of this bridge, and the full tension of the strings is pretty much resting on that rod piezo. And it picks up good. It sounds good through an amp. It sounds even better when put through a preamp. So, yeah, partial refret job on my primary stage mandolin. The action's nice and low. So, sounds a lot better, plays easier. Happy, happy. Shane Spiel says, notching the tang. Is that like spiking the punch bowl? No. No, it isn't. All right, now for the top secret pro tip. I mentioned that mandolins and also a lot of banjos take loop end strings, whereas most guitars and most cigar box guitars, hardtail bridges, the tail pieces we sell.
Oh, I just thought there is a manual zoom on the camera. We might be able to.
Well, they take ball end strings. They got that little brass ball or brass nut there at the end. So here is my method for converting a ball end string to a loop end string. Because there's a little, even on wound strings, this is a 26 gauge phosphor bronze wound string. And even on wound strings, there's a loop of the bare steel core. There's the plain steel core of wound strings that comes out of the windings and goes around that brass nut. But if you start trying to bend that or stretch that, you're going to damage that steel core, and the string probably won't last. So how do you get that brass nut out of there without damaging or weakening the loop? Well, I'll tell you, because there is a groove around the circumference of this brass nut where that wire rests. So if you got a pair of linesman's pliers or regular pliers, ideally ones that have a nice flat section at the end, I've found that you can take this and just squeeze that brass nut till it breaks. And I know it won't be able to zoom in quite well enough, or at all. You can't see that. Anyway, that brass doesn't bend, it breaks, and once it breaks, you can actually go the other way, all the while avoiding damaging that inner loop, and then the brass pieces just fall out, and there's your loop. Now, here's one other thing to know. This loop that remains when you safely remove that brass nut, it is not as big as the loop on true loop end strings, so it can be a little tricky sometimes. It took me some doing to get it to go over the nubs on this on the tailpiece. Now on the mandolin tailpieces we sell, the Gitty style, they've just got nice little raised hooks in there, and these slide over them because I had to restring this after messing with it, and it works just fine. So I was able to restring both of these mandolins without buying official loop end strings because I converted ball end strings to loop end. Now again, using some pliers that have a flat at the top. I wouldn't use the toothed part of the plier jaws because that would be a lot more likely to potentially crimp or dent the steel core. But yeah, works pretty good. I'm happy with it. It's holding up so far. It might take a few tries. So if you've only got one string, you know, and you've got a gig in an hour, you might not want to try this method. But with a little practice, I can do it pretty much every time now without harming the string. All right, we're at tree 35. Who's next? Is Shane next?
Shane next.
All right, we're going to run this week's What's the Deal with Spiel. Jeff Powers asking if I've been to the National Hobo Days in Britt, Iowa. No, but I'd really like to get out there. I really would. We're going to run What's the Deal with Spiel, and then when we come back, we've got a new song that I wrote just a couple of nights ago and trotted out in public for the first time last night. Yeah, and then Danny's got one of his songs in honor of Earth Day, today being Earth Day, and another video too, and by God, we'll have a show. So, be right back.
It's What's the Deal with Spiel, and we are going unedited today. Usually I have all these different cuts. Somebody introduces me. Not today. We're going to take this straight. First of all, let's take a listen. there it is. It's finished. We're not going to really get into it today, but yes, the Cigar Box Mandolin project is done. And this is the one I've been showing on Instagram. I've been showing on Facebook. It is all CB Gitty parts that I created. An acoustic electric mandolin. I'm infatuated with it right now. Loving this thing. I've been learning how to play regular mandolin again, because usually whenever I play mandolin in concert, I have this cheating. I tune it to an open G for a mandolin. But since I built this one, I wanted to go traditional because I want to teach you guys how to build this. Yes, there will be free plans on how to build a Cigar Box mandolin. They are coming to cbgitty.com real soon. I've got all the photos. I've got all the videos. What's next is I need to compile everything and put it into one big page. So that'll be coming soon. The Cigar Box Mandolin Project. Check that out. How beautiful is it? It took me so long to get this thing together, but now that it's done right. And I love the playability of it. Let me put the cord right here. This is what it sounds like. Unplugged. There goes the cord. Still learning how to play it. We'll get there. Look for this soon, the Cigar Box Mandolin Project. Thank you, CB Gitty. Thank you, CB Gitty. They provided all the parts for this, and now I'm going to show you how to make your own. All right, that's one thing I've been doing. You know me, I always have so many other projects going on. Let me get my cord again here. And I'm going to plug this thing in. This guitar I am holding right now, I have had this for many years, and in fact, I forget who built it. It's a beautiful mahogany 6-string electric guitar that looks like Bo Diddley, semi-hollow body. There's a center block, but it's just very cool. Now, I always had problems with this thing because it was somebody, I think it was one of the first electric guitars that he built. Okay, so the neck was like a baseball bat. The fret ends were sharp, and it was just a little too tough to play. So I really didn't use it too much in concert. Also, it was unfinished. There was no polyurethane or anything on there, and anytime I played it, I would scratch it up. Well, Dana Valley from Relapse, who makes the B-Benders, sent me a prototype of an upcoming version of the B-Bender. Yes, this is in development, and he sent this to me to try it out. Well, he said, you need a guitar with a Telecaster type of bridge with individual string saddles, and the strings must be fed through the back. Well, this mahogany guitar of mine is the only one that fit that bill. So I figured, let me get this back into playable condition again, and then I will put this on. So what I did was I took a Shinto rasp and I shaped the back of this neck. I really brought it down. It feels great now. I also sanded the whole thing down, polyurethaned it. One of the other things I did, the fret ends. I have been teaching myself how to repair my own guitars, especially doing fret dressing. Today, as I film this, it is cbgitty.com's $5 Friday. Now, as his marketing person, I get to choose which products get $5 off on Friday, and this is one of the ones I chose. This is his straight flush file. And the reason I chose this is I think you guys need to own one of these. I used this, and this is what I use to get rid of all those sharp frets on the edge. I've been using this more and more in my guitars. I used it on the mandolin, and I've been using it elsewhere. CB Gitty makes these in-house, and today, April 22nd, 2022, they are $5 off. Get it at cbgitty.com and look for the $5 Friday sale. But yeah, I used this on here. I took the neck off, and I filed the frets, and then I hand filed everything. Took my time. I mean, it was one of those, I took several hours to do it. but it was calming. To me, it's like a Zen thing, I guess. I enjoy working on guitars. So I got this together. I polyurethane it, got many coats on there. Look at that thing. Look how gorgeous it is now. Okay, you guys got to hear this. I'm trying to learn how to do a B bender. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to give it some reverb. I'm going to give it a little slapback. That is not slapback. Where is my echo? Oh, here it is. There. I'm going to add a little volume here. So I've got this on the B string. This is tuned in standard guitar. It's a little out of tune. Especially on the B, that's where the bender is. So, if you put a B bender on your guitar, like I said, this is the relapse. This is the relapse version 2 that's coming soon. Version 1 is on sale, is for sale at cbgitty.com. But if you put one of these on your guitar, you got to learn to play the country licks. And check this out. Wait, no pick. It sounds even better without a pick. Oh, yeah. And all it does is stretches the B string. There is a roller saddle in there. And you can, I'll turn it down so I don't kill the microphone, but you can put it on some distortion. Let me see which one sounds best. I'm using the Roland Microcube here. Let me see right here. But, you know, it's, yeah, distortion's okay, but nothing beats the clean with a little bit of slapback. So that's one of the things I've been doing. I'm going to put this down because I got to show you. I just got a new Cigar Box guitar. And I got an email from a man named Rick Wynn. And he is from Orange County, California. And he made me this. He just sent this to me. Yeah, baby. All right, let me watch. I don't want to. Woo! That's pretty hot there. 3-string Cigar Box guitar. Here's the story. You guys are going to love this. Last Christmas, Rick's wife gave him one of those Cigar Box guitar kits they sell in bookstores. You know, the one from China. I reviewed it a while back. Well, his wife bought it on Sharper Image. Okay, and she got it as a gag gift for him. Now, Rick has his own company. He makes custom doors for contractors, so he's into, you know, woodworking and things like that. Well, she bought him the gag gift, and to him it wasn't a gag gift. He went nuts. He started building his own. He bought one of mine. He bought one of my Macanudo Cigar Box guitars. By the way, I only have one of those left. One of the original wooden Macanudo boxes. Go to stubbyslide.com. Stubby Slide, not an S. Stubbyslide.com. There's one left. If you want one, get it now, or it's going to go bye-bye. Well, he bought one of my guitars, bought some other stuff, and started building like crazy, and he made this one. It's a Rocky Patel Cigar Box. Look at this Sapile. How do you pronounce that? Sapile? All right. Sapile neck, and he cut little grooves in there for the fret lines, and those grooves continue around the side so that I can see them as I play. And look what he did with these mother of pearl dots in there. How beautiful is this? So you've got the, you know, you see, I love thick-coated, gleaming mahogany. I love the look of that, and that's what he made right here. He put a preamp in there, the CB Gitty preamp in there. It's got the pickup. Now, notice this. He has what what do you call it? The grill sound hole cover. But he used the black one, and because he used the black one, you really don't notice the neck going through the box. This is a great idea. This is a really great idea. It gives you a traditional looking sound hole cigar box guitar, and you don't sort of see the neck going through, you know. So it looks a little cleaner, but this thing plays fantastic. Dialed up so that it is mostly bass and mostly treble, no mid, no presence. But if I do the opposite and have nothing but mid and presence in there like that, that gives me the lo-fi sound. Rick, I love this. I love this. I love this. Thank you so much. I will be putting strap buttons on here so that I can play this in concert. Yes, this is definitely gig worthy. Rick, you make a fantastic cigar box guitar. Rick Wynn, Orange County, California, salute. Woo-wee. So, that's what's the deal with Spiel. Ooh, that's a little high. I forgot the presence. Gotta keep that down or it gets too bitey. So, thank you for joining me, guys. If you've noticed, I don't always have videos on my YouTube. It's kind of here or there, and if you're wondering where I'm going, if you haven't noticed yet, on weeks that I don't post a lot of videos, those are usually the weeks I post a lot of articles over at cigarboxguitars.com. cigarboxguitars.com. See, I go back and forth. Sometimes I don't have a new lesson in me, so instead I write more history articles, and I will post those over there. So make sure you follow me over at cigarboxguitars.com. Follow me on Instagram /cigarboxguitars or at Instagram /cigarboxguitar. Or facebook.com/cigarboxguitar. All my stuff is on those pages. So if you're not seeing me on one social media, you'll see me elsewhere. And I'm just posting for everyone. That's what I've got. Don't forget, today is $5 Friday on cbgitty.com. There's 5 different things for sale, $5 off each. And get this one. Get the straight flush file, and you're going to start taking care of some of those other regular electric guitars you buy. Instead of taking them to a luthier, you can start doing some repairs yourself. My name's Shane Spiel, and I want to thank cbgitty.com, and I will see you guys next week. Ooh, yeah. Bye, folks.
Well, thank you for... Oh, don't have my mic on. Hold, please. Battery was running low. All right. So thank you, Shane, for putting that together. Always love good What's the Deal with Spiel. Michael Capato loves Shane's insane laughter. Yeah, he comes by it naturally, I'd say. Anyway, here is a song. You've heard us refer usually during the show that after the show we're going to go downstairs to the brewery and do what?
We'll go for the one.
Have the one. So Nick and I have been kicking around ideas for a song based on that concept. And that saying, have the one, or just the one, our good friend Patrick Boyle, who we saw last night at the little session downstairs, he's been saying that for years, and I don't know if he's ever once actually meant it. But
I'm pretty sure if you say I'm going for the one,
the one, yeah.
The one.
So here's a song, kind of an a cappella, half song, half recitation that I put together on that topic. So the one, I went for the one. I'll be down in a moment, just a wee bit of fun, and I'll head out the door to my home and be done. For the one, I'm just here for the one. Oh, the two, but what could I do? You cannot say no when it's given to you. I never could be so awkward and rude. So the two, I went for the two. Now the three, oh, how could this be? But there it is sitting in front of me. I'll toss it down quick, then be off and quite free. So the three, I went for the three. Oh, the four, then I'm out the door. Sure, what is the harm in having one more?
Just
But
one?
just one. But the clock, it is ticking, and it can't be ignored. So the four, I went for the four. Oh, the five, I surely can't drive. And me own darling wife, she'll skin me alive for spending my pay in this dirty old dive. The five, I went for the five. Now the six, they're playing me tricks. I surely can't say how I got in this fix, but I'll have to go home and take my licks. For the six, I went for the six. But the seven, I'm a long way from heaven, and the clock it is gone now well past 11. You'd think by now I'd have learned my lesson, but the seven, I went for the seven. Oh, the eight, I'm doomed to my fate. It's all I can do to find my own gate, and she'll never forgive me for being so late. But the eight, I went for the eight. Now the nine, all the world has a shine. There's no one to blame, the fault is all mine, and the sad empty glasses stand all in a line. For the nine, I went for the nine. Oh, the ten, I'm the lowest of men. And I woke up this morning with the pig in his pen, and me own darling wife's gone to her mother's again. For the ten, I went for the 10.
The 11,
No.
Went for the 11.
Uh-oh.
That's it.
He doesn't say much, folks, but when he does,
It's
All
a
right.
bit chunky.
it's rather thick when he...
Heavy words.
So Danny's going to do a song now for Earth Day.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully my mic batteries hold out here.
It's my old song that I wrote when I was a farmhand. Way back 9 years ago. So. Yep. And I'll tell you, even though I'm not there anymore, when you've done that, when you've worked the land in any way, it's something about that never quite leaves you.
The smell takes a while to leave you.
Yeah, especially the time I shoveled out the sheep pen.
Yeah, I was going to say, you shovel enough shenanigans. And... Anyway, here we go.
Work in the fields, working away on a warm sunny day in the cold and the rain. We felt the wind and the summer sun burning as the wheel keeps on turning round and round again. Salt of the earth, with the salt of the earth, a rain a shine, we're down in the dirt. Salt of the earth, with the salt of the earth, and we drive the world round. The young generation got nowhere to go but back to the land for to reap and to sow. Well, none of us know what tomorrow's gonna bring, but today I'm gonna work, and while I work, I'm gonna sing. Salt of the earth, with the salt of the earth, a rain a shine, we're down in the dirt. salt of the earth, we're the salt of the earth, and we drive the world round. Try one. The good earth we plow, fertilize and seed, 'cause there's crops we've gotta grow, 'cause there's folks we gotta feed. The fruit of our labors is the sweetest there be, from the taters in the ground to the apples from the tree. Salt of the earth, we're the salt of the earth, a rain a shine, we're down in the dirt. Salt of the earth, we're the salt of the earth, and we drive the world round. The time marches on, and the wind does blow, and the thunder claps, and the flowers grow. The mountains rise, and the raindrops fall, and the farmers are farming, we're part of it all. Salt of the earth, we're the salt of the earth, a rain a shine, we're down in the dirt. Salt of the earth, we're the salt of the earth, and we drive the world round. Bring it home.
Okay.
So as you can hear, I've still got a bit of Rona voice.
A little bit of the Rona, yeah. All right, well, thank you. Hey, here we are at 3:59 already, but I think even though we're beyond where we normally go, we thank you all for joining us. We're going to run the KO video, a little bit of one piece at a time, Johnny Cash classic. We'll actually go out on that. So just imagine that after KO is done, that we came back and played and sang the Gitty Gang theme song, even though we're not gonna.
Yeah, because we're too lazy to actually do it.
You remember how it goes. It's Gitty Gang Show. All right, here's KO. We'll see you next week, everyone.
Howdy, folks.
Actually, I don't know what's happening next week. I'm going to be down in Florida. It's spring break here in New Hampshire, so I don't know what these guys will do, if anything.
We'll figure it out. Maybe Danny and I can go on and play a couple tunes.
Something.
Yeah.
Or maybe I could go live from the beach. Who knows?
Who knows? We'll figure it out.
So anyway, here's KO.
Howdy, folks. Happy Sunday morning. I got a Johnny Cash tune for you this week. And this song, I feel like this is one of those that everybody knows. And Johnny did it in like kind of a spoken word sort of a fashion. And it's kind of a humorous song. But I was thinking about the song earlier this week, and I thought, what would happen if I sang that song? And so I kind of tried it a couple times, and let's give it a take this morning. Now, by the way, I think I've mentioned this before, but my nemesis is having a lot of lyrics in a song. And this song has a lot of lyrics because I don't use like cheat sheets and, put papers up on the wall and stuff. I try to memorize every song that I do and then clear it out of my brain so I can memorize a new one the next week. So this song's got a lot of lyrics, so hopefully I can make it through them. But anyway, here's a little one piece at a time. Little Johnny Cash classic. Well, I left Kentucky back in 49. I went to Detroit working on an assembly line. The first year they had me putting wheels on Cadillacs. And every day I'd watch them beauties roll by. And sometimes I'd hang my head and cry. I always wanted me one that was long and black. So one day I devised myself a plan, and it should be the envy of most any man. Well, I'd sneak her out of there in a lunchbox in my hand. Now I'd get it one piece at a time, and it wouldn't cost me a dime. And you'll know it's me when I come through your town. I'm gonna ride around in style, I'm gonna drive everybody wild, 'cause I'll have the only one there is around. So the very next day when I punched in with my big lunchbox and with help from a friend, I left that day with a lunchbox full of years. Now I've never considered myself a thief, but GM couldn't miss this one little piece, especially if I strung it out over several years. So one day I got me a fuel pump, and the next day I got me an engine and a trunk. Then I got me a transmission and all the chrome. The little things I can fit in my big lunchbox, I like the nuts and bolts and all four shocks, but the big stuff we snuck out in my buddy's mobile home. Now up to now the plan went alright, but then we tried to put it all together one night, and that's when we noticed that something was definitely wrong. The transmission was a 53 and that motor turned out to be a 73, so when we tried to put in the bolts, all the holes were gone. So we drilled it out so that it would fit, and with a little bit of help from an adapter kit, man, we had that engine running just like a song. Now the headlights, there was another sight. We had two on the left, one on the right, but when I pulled out the switch, all three of them come on. The back end looked kind of funny too, but we put it together, and when we got through, well, that's when we noticed that we only had one tail fit. About this time my wife walked out, and I could see in her eyes, man, she had her doubts, but she opened up the door and said, honey, take me for a spin. So we drove uptown just to get them tags, and I pointed her right on down Main Drag. I could hear everybody laughing for blocks around. But up there at the courthouse, they didn't laugh, 'cause to type it up, it took the whole damn staff. And when they got through, the title weighed 60 pounds. But I got it one piece at a time, and it didn't cost me a dime. And you'll know it's me when I roll through your town. I'm gonna ride around in style, I'm gonna drive everybody wild, 'cause I'll have the only one there is around. Oh yeah, there, Red Rider, this is the Cottonmouth in the Psychobilly Cadillac, come on. Oh yeah, this is the Cottonmouth and negatory on the cost of this machine there, Red Rider. You might say I drove right up to the factory and picked it up. A little cheaper that way. Well, what model is it? Well, it's a 49, 50, 51, a 52, a 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 automobile. Well, it's a 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70 automobile. Holy crap, that's a lot of lyrics. Sunday morning.